first thing I'm going to say is that the first part of the presentation that we're going to do is on anti-aging. And you know what I try and ask people is that, you know, have you ever thought that you know, when you're looking at aging, when you're looking at the whole thing about aging, why is it that you get to be, you know, when you have a baby, right? You know, he's 3 months old. He's 3.5 months old, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, they're 5 years old. They're, you know, and they made it to 21, right? And then all of a sudden they're 30, and oh man, made it to 50, right? But when you get to be, you know, 70, 80, all of a sudden you start to feel like, oh, I'm supposed to feel old, right? Does anybody ever notice that? That people tend to do that. My mom and dad, my dad just turned 80 in December. And the doctors up in the United States where I'm from, they just said, well, you're 80, you need to take this prescription. And my dad says, well, but I don't have anything wrong. And they told him, they said, but you're 80 years old. You need to take that. What do you think of that? Is that good?
They should take tests.
Absolutely not. They need to look at people from a viewpoint of what's wrong with them and individualize it, but they don't tend to do it. So aging, is it inevitable? Well, we are going to get older, and we are going to live longer than our parents did, and chances are we'll live longer than our grandparents. But the thing about it is that as we look at this, and hopefully I can get this across to you, is that there's some practical solutions that we can do that we maybe can slow down the whole idea of you don't have to feel old anymore, right? Like the new 40 is 60, right? When you get to be 60, that's the new 40. That's what we want to do. We want to get people so that they look and feel and act like they're still young when they're old. So what I did next is I brought a video that I found, and I really thought this kind of gives people an idea. So we'll watch this.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide. The average Canadian will spend their last 10 years in sickness. Change your future at makehealthlast.ca.
Right? Do you want to be the guy that's playing with his grandchildren, enjoying life with his family, or the guy that's in the nursing home, right? And all of you are fairly healthy. I'm sure that we all have something wrong with us, but now's the time that you want to address it. You don't want to wait until something's wrong and then have to go after it. Next slide, Katie. So when you look at anti-aging, and we talk about anti-aging, there's animals like jellyfish. When I was out fishing with Trevor the other day, we saw jellyfish. Jellyfish are like almost immortal. They never change from when they're a baby jellyfish to when they're an old jellyfish. Biologically, they're the same. The bowhead whale, they just seem to live forever, centuries. And you can't tell the difference. You take a look at turtles. They say that Charles Darwin's pet tortoise is still alive. Right? How many years ago was Charles Darwin around? How many hundreds of years ago? Right? And his pet tortoise is still alive. Lobsters, they have more sex the older they get. Wouldn't that be cool? You get to be 90, you have more sex than you did when you were 20? That'd be kind of fun. You wouldn't remember it, but. But bacteria are an interesting creature, right? If you take a look at a bacteria that is formed today, and you compare it to the bacteria when it's 14 days old or 20 days old, biologically under a microscope, they look identical. They haven't changed. So why is it that we age? Why do we get old? Why do we age? Why do we have the aging diseases? So these are some things I'm going to try and get people to think about. Katie? And so Benjamin Franklin, pretty smart guy, and he wrote a lot of things, but he said that all diseases can be cured. And at that time, he said, except that of old age. And I want to get people to start thinking about maybe if we address aging as the disease, maybe it'll make a difference. My boy, who's 26 now, he's in medical school. He's in his third year to medical school, and I was talking to him about 10 years ago, and I've always kind of been into this anti-aging. Originally I wanted to live to be 100 years old. And at 100, I wanted to be as healthy as I possibly could. I didn't want to have anything wrong with me. And now it's changed. I want to be 110. I've added 10 years to it. I'm 55 now, so I'm at the halfway point, right? And I really feel now, with some of the things that I'm doing, I feel like I'm healthier. I feel like I'm stronger today than I was 20 years ago when I was 35, right? And when I'm 70, I want to feel stronger at 70 than I do at 55. But my son said to me, he said, Dad, he said, why do you want to grow old? He said, all that means is that you're going to have to be on all these medications. You're going to have all those old age diseases. And he was looking at things from a different point of view. And he's saying, why do you want that? And some people I talk to, I treat a lot of people. I treat some people who are 98 years old, patients of mine who are 98. I treat some 90-year-olds, some 92 years olds, and I ask them all kinds of questions, and because I want to learn from them, right? I mean, what's the best way of learning how to get old? Talk to an old person, right? And so I'm asking my 98-year-old friend. I said, what's the worst thing about being 98 years old? What do you think his answer was? All his friends were gone, right? And so he's lonely. He's there by himself. And so Katie and I were talking about it this morning, that wouldn't it be nice? Here we are in this room, all of us, and even though Trevor stole my apple pie, we'll let you stay with us. But I'm just kidding. But wouldn't it be nice if here, us group of people, that I can be back down here speaking in 20 years, and we're all going to be sitting here, we're going to be a bigger group because we all want to find out how to stay healthy and live longer. And so that's kind of like the idea that I want to project, so that when I'm 98 years old, I'm hanging around with a bunch of people that I've known for years, right? Wouldn't that be fun? So, the next slide. I'm one of those weird ducks, you know. When I went to school, I enjoyed math, I enjoyed science, and I went to school for mechanical engineering when I first graduated from high school. And I got into my last year of engineering, and I just realized, this isn't what I want to do. I want to work with people. And so I switched into chiropractic, and I graduated from chiropractic college in 1987 when I was 26 years old. So I was a doctor when I was 26. And opened up my own practice. I didn't know what I was doing. I had never taken a business class in my life, and I opened up my own practice, and I got kind of bored with it, and I started doing what was called functional medicine, right? Where instead of looking at wait until your heart started to fail, why don't we do some things before it starts to fail? Why don't we look at things from a little bit different aspect of it? And so that's kind of how I started to attack it. And then around the time of the new millennium in 2000. I really got into anti-aging. And it wasn't really popular back then. When I said anti-aging, people would look at me and they go, Oh yeah, you're one of those guys. And they kind of gave me a weird look like, yeah, you want to live forever. And that's what I have on my business card. On the front of my business card, it says, have you ever thought about living forever? Right? Has anybody here, have you ever thought about living forever? Right? I'm sure most of you have, you just don't dare raise your hand, but, right? I mean, you thought about it, right? But you didn't raise your hand.
I thought about it from a soul perspective that we do.
Yeah, but that's what people say, is they'll say, well, I thought about it from the soul, there's the spiritual side of it. Some people will say, oh, yeah, I don't want to do that. And I didn't ask if, how you thought about it. I just asked, did you think about it? And the answer is usually yes, people have thought about it. But have you ever thought, besides the spiritual side of things, the soul side of things, if you were to live forever, Shane, what would you need?